jump now. And I'm sorry that that might seem so straightforward, but sometimes we need to hear that. We got that same speech. Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jen.
And Sundays, Jen and I, we take videos and we want to use it for stuff that's really starting to churn in our gut, and take it as an opportunity to use our platform to speak to you all, and speak to you all in maybe a way that you haven't been spoken to.
Today is one of those days. So we want to, first off, we have a lot of fun. We laugh. This channel is about family always. It's about raising your family with a home-based life. That is our goal. It's about being sustainable, it's about being self-sufficient, and it's about beating the system. That is what we try to do. So I'm sure most of you have been feeling this shift. I think that's why most of you are here.
Yeah.
Some of the others are here strictly for entertainment, and we're glad that we can provide that. But I'm sure you're feeling the shift in the world. You're feeling the shift in your gut. You've been feeling it. If you're anything like us, you've been feeling it for about 9 years now. That's about when we started this journey. We decided that we wanted to be self-sufficient as much as possible. It's not, 100%. But we felt that churning in our gut, and we just started very small. We started to do what we could. We started to learn, most of all, from people like us on YouTube, and that's why we're here ultimately. But the journey started for us, and we've come this far. You guys can see that. If you've been watching us at our old house, that you know how far we've come. We've came a long way, and most of all with just getting better at what we're doing, learning more, and even down to having a family milk cow and not just milk goats.
So she touched on something that is ultimately the primary purpose of this video. She said 9 years ago, we made this decision to do a home-based lifestyle. And what does home-based mean? Home-based means homeschool. It means raising your own food as much as you can. Meat, veggies, dairy, whatever it is that you're intaking on a daily basis. How can you do that at your home? Because, as we all should know, God gave us everything we needed right here on our land. So you can create all these things that you need and not have to rely so heavily on grocery stores, on hospitals, on pharmacies, and be able to do those things right here at home. So when she talks about our old house, like, that's the decision we're saying it's time for you to make. Like, it's time, the time is now. So before we get into those actionable items, let us tell you a little bit about our story and how we got there, because we know that a lot of you are starting to, like she said, feel that turn and wanting to make that leap, but may just be a little fearful of it. So first off, let me tell you a little something about my wife. I don't know what goes on up in here, but she always seems to be about at a minimum 2 weeks ahead of everything. Any decisions that are going to be made.
My gut. I follow my gut.
She does follow her gut. She follows it very well. She does not fight it whatsoever, and it has paid off for us tremendously, especially over the past few years. So when we got married, we were living in a little bitty duplex. We're not going to get into our life story. We did a video about that and how we got there, but I want to talk about the decision specifically to start the home-based life. We were presented with an opportunity on what do we do next in an early marriage. Do we go subdivision and just work corporate life?
Buy the nice house, the big house.
Or do we go the other way and try to do the debt-free way? And I want Jen to tell a little bit more, because she's the one that really made this decision to do so, and it surprised me. So I wanted her to explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was something I felt even as a child that I knew that I wanted us to be self-sufficient. And so when we were presented with the opportunity to either buy the nice house, have the normal marriage, 2 kids, 2-car garage kind of setup, or go debt-free, automatically I went to debt-free, because I knew that's where we wanted to go. I knew that's what was going to be best for our future. I knew that it would be best for our kids. I knew that it would be a lot of sacrifice, obviously not having a big house, not having fancy cars or fancy clothes and jewelry and diamonds and pearls and all that stuff, but I knew that it would pay off for generations to come. And so we made the sacrifice, and people looked at us like we were crazy. That's your first hurdle. The second hurdle is, okay, how do we actually make this work? How do we sacrifice all of this knowing that for the bigger picture it's going to be right? And that was what I knew inside of myself, I knew that it was going to be right, even though it was going to be hard. And so we did. We went with the decision to be as debt-free as we possibly could. If you haven't seen that journey, go watch it. It was about a 5-year journey. You'll see our struggles. You'll see that we didn't have what most people had, and that was difficult. However, every day we knew in the back of our minds that it was going to lead eventually to what we have now, which is this beautiful place. And you know, the debt-free journey it's a big journey, and we're not completely debt-free. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. We do have a house payment, but if that's all we have, that's worth it to us, because like I said, generations to come. It's about legacy. By the time it is handed to our kids, it's going to be well paid for. We're already on that journey. We're getting rid of everything that we possibly can, everything extra that we don't need. We've already done that, so that we are just specifically focusing on getting this paid off so that we have everything that we can pass to our kids, and they can run this farm, they can be debt free, and then they just keep passing it on. It's a process. So that was the choice that we made. We knew there would be sacrifices. We made those sacrifices. They were difficult, but now we're here.
So if you have that feeling in the gut, which we know a lot of you do, and I know after what you just heard her say, you're probably thinking, well, you know, my situation is different. You're probably saying, well, I can't do it because of this X, Y, and Z. Or you are on YouTube and you make money, so that's supported that. That's completely false as well. When we made that decision, I was making what, like $9 an hour or something like that. Something not very good for 9 years ago. And she was homeschooling because we had already had Wyatt. Wyatt was born 6 months after we were married. So it was, I mean, right out the gate. But we made it work, and you can too. Do not sit back and say, well, I'm looking at someone that's done it and I'll never get there. Because it's kind of like planting a fruit tree, right? The best time to plant it was 7 years ago. The next best time is right now. Mm-hmm. And right now you're facing that 7-year idea. You're seeing so far in the future, you think it's just unattainable. You'll never reach it. But right now is the time to do it. And that's what we are trying to push you to do. Trust that gut. It is time to go. It is time to have that home-based situation for your family. So if you're sitting in that subdivision and you're churning for more, you know this isn't enough that you have. If your kids are going to public school or private schools and you're like, I want them home, I want to be able to do this at home, you can, and you will. You just got to trust your gut.
So back to the shift that everyone's feeling, and that's, you know, not, without saying specifics, you know what's going on in the world. We all do. You can keep your head in the sand as much as you want to, but at the end of the day, it's starting to affect everyone. Not just babies, not just blue-collar workers. It is going to affect everyone. And I don't say that lightly. I also don't say it for you to jump at us and be like, that's not what we're here for. Well, like I said, if you want to keep your head in the sand, go for it. If you want to learn and start to follow this journey that we have and be more self-sufficient, then it's time to talk about it. So what are we doing to prepare? I don't even think the right word's prepare, because we're in it. Like it's
right.
It's full blown.
Right.
5 alarm. It's happening. It's been happening, but we are right in the middle of it now. But I truly think worse to come.
Well, I think that's a very good point to just mention on real quick. It is no longer prepping, because we are using the stuff we prepped for, right? Yeah. Like, it is time. You're using your assets. And so now what she's getting at is, what are you doing to make that sustainable? Yes. Because the biggest thing that we've always said about prepping is just going and buying a bunch of stuff and putting in your basement isn't going to work. That'll get you through a couple months. But what about years? How are you going to do this for years?
Mm-hmm. So that's where we are talking about playlists. We're talking about putting videos. We've been doing videos for, I think, 3 years now.
More than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
We have taught a lot.
Yeah, we've been here 2 years.
Yeah, right. Without focusing and saying specific things, we have put these videos out there to teach and to let you build your archive of skills, because we do it, we fail, and we learn, and we put it out there so that you can do the same. Because it doesn't just start with complete success. There will be failure. So that's what are we doing to, with lack of a better word, prepare? Garden. If you don't do anything else, if you don't move, if you don't get out of where you are, if you don't bring your kids home, start a garden, please. Even on your deck, your patio. I don't care if you use milk jugs. I don't care if you use a green stock. Start a garden. grow what you can. It's not going to be everything, but it's going to be something when there's nothing left.
But one thing you're going to learn is everything about pests, soil control, watering, how to take care of a plant, and you're doing that on a smaller scale, so when you move to bigger, you already have that knowledge.
Yeah.
So you've got your garden, you're trying it out, it's going well. You're ready for the next step. What's next? Next is chickens and goats. I know a lot, when we got goats, everybody said, well, if you can't hold water, you won't hold goats. That is the furthest from the truth that I've ever heard in my entire life. Our goats, and we have a slew of different varieties. It's not just like we have the good ones. They don't get out like everybody says they are. If they're getting out, you're not doing something for them that they need. That's just point blank. The cows are worse than the goats when it comes to breaking fences. However, chickens are going to produce you an egg every single day for the most part. You know, it's obviously going to taper off in the winter. But a chicken can provide your family food every day. And so if it came down to where you needed to eat, chickens are going to provide that for you every day. So keep that in mind when it comes to chickens. That's why they are so important to have on your farm. Besides a million other reasons when it comes to helping out your soil, helping out your compost, all those different reasons. Those stuff comes as benefits. The number one reason is they give you an egg and you get to eat.
And we've taught you how to preserve them. So go back and watch, because even if they do stop laying over the winter, there are ways that you can keep eggs in your kitchen all throughout the year.
Yeah, water glassing and freeze drying. Second, dairy. You gotta have dairy. And goats are so great at being able to give you the dairy that you need at a manageable level for personal consumption. We know what's going on right now with our babies. Goats, number one answer to that. It can be done, and it should be done, and it is great for everything. It's lactose free, so you're able to have it for even if there's lactose intolerant people in your family. It has so many nutrients in it, it's unbelievable. Having one dairy goat would give you probably about a half a gallon-ish a day of milk when they're in milk. Now, goats do dry up after they have their birth. After about a year, they need that break. But if you continue to breed, getting a breeding pair, a buck and a female, you'll always have those animals in milk. And that is the most beautiful thing that we ever did on our farm, which really changed to the next level. Yeah. Dairy has just been amazing. You know, don't always think meat. You got to think of the other things they provide you. So every day, one chicken, you get an egg. Every day with a goat, you have dairy. That's going to give you massive amounts of nutrients that fill your body with good protein.
Number 3, you have all these eggs, you have milk, you have a garden, hopefully, that you're growing vegetables from. You need to learn how to preserve. And you can do it on our channel. We have been putting videos out for years about how to preserve food, whether it's canning, now freeze drying, just freezing, dehydrating, fermenting, refrigerator. All of those things are such valuable skills that have been lost over the generations. And I'm not, because I know most of you are saying I know how to do that, and that's great. But for the majority of society, those skills have been lost. And they need to be relearned. So you need to teach yourself. And that's the way I did it. I didn't even have YouTube. I had books, and I taught myself how to do it. And that's what you need to do too, because once you have food coming in, you've got to have a way to preserve it. Because if you can't preserve it, then you're not going to have it. And when things are going south, you don't have a garden in the winter, or if you don't have eggs or milk, you're going to need that food that you put up to feed your family.
So the next piece is medically. Medically learn how to take care of yourself. We were actually making a slew of calendula and comfrey salve yesterday, and Wyatt looked at me, and he knows everything about it because Jen has taught him. He said, "How did Mommy learn how to do this?" I said, "Well, she read a lot of books." He said, "Well, why?" I said, "Because Mommy didn't want us to always have to rely on a doctor in a hospital for some of the simple health issues that someone may have that can be fixed right here. Calendula, scars, cuts, burns, stuff like that, comfrey, achy joints, arthritis, things like that." I said she wanted us to be able to be self-sufficient and do this ourselves. So Wyatt responded to me, and he's like, "Well, shoot, that's why Mommy wants us to read so much, so I can like make a shot or something." I was like, "Well, there's different ways than shots. I don't think we want to be pricking ourselves if we're making it." He's like, "That's a good point. I don't like shots." So my point being is there is so much information out there. She's provided it within videos. There's so many books that are out there for you to learn how to have a medicine cabinet, all from your natural herbs that you grew in your garden. It's definitely doable, and it's very, honestly, easy to do.
And it's of all the points, it's one of the more important ones.
Yeah, because you can have all the food that you want, but if you get sick and you don't have anything to treat it and you don't have a way to get to medical equipment, what are you going to do? So it's something that you definitely need to focus on within this journey that you're about to embark on.
Our next point, and we touched on it a little bit at the beginning, is the home-based lifestyle. You need to bring your family home. You need to bring your kids home. You need to bring your spouse home. You need to bring whoever else home that it is, whether it's your mother, your mother-in-law, your father, your father-in-law, your brothers, your sisters. You need to bring them home, and you all need to focus on the same thing. If you can get everyone on the same page, it's better. Many hands make light work. Strength in numbers, all the cliches, you can say whatever you want, but the more people that you have on your side and learning these skills with you, the better off that you're going to be in the long run.
Yeah, and hint, the very first thing Jen said, people are going to think you're crazy. That includes your family. So if at first they're not like, yes, let's do this, you start doing it. And if you have children, that's something that you can control. Make sure they're home. But start doing it. They're going to start seeing those benefits, and they're going to come around. So don't give up hope. Like if they think you're crazy or insane, don't give up hope. Just start doing it, and they will come. And keep having a space and a spot to bring them, even if it's pitching a tent. Get them up on your farm in your home. So I know right now, a lot of y'all like, you lost me after number one, all I can do is garden. Well, I want to tell you something really, really factual and maybe hard to hear. If all you can do is number one, it's time to move. It's time. The time is right now for you to get out of a spot that is limiting you to just a small garden. Get out of there. There's no better time than right now to get out of there and find you a space that you can do this. Even if
we're
it's
not talking 100 acres.
No.
We're talking doable space.
Right. We have 12, and we have all the way up to a dairy cow, and we can still produce a beef cow beside that dairy cow as well. It's doable. You can do stuff on smaller space. We promise. So do that. Start looking now. You continue to garden in this time frame. You continue to learn while you're searching for a new place. And y'all, I don't care if it's difficult. I don't care if there's not even a house there on the land, if that's something that you can afford. Sell it, throw you up a little tiny home like our store, or get a camper and get on that property. Start building your future as soon as you possibly can. When we moved, we decided in July that we were going to move. We were in our new farm in October. So it happens faster than you think. And you're probably saying, well, I don't have the money for a down payment. We didn't either. It comes, you figure it out. You know, pull 401ks if you have to. Figure out what you need to do to get the money for a down payment to get yourself on your future, your legacy, and your sustainability road. Because I'm not saying time's running out, but it needs to happen now. It really does. You really need to stop the fear and trust your gut.
And the excuses.
Yes, and go for it, because everything you're thinking, we thought too. Yeah. And then you just have to finally bite the bullet and do it. Take that risk. All the good fruit is going to be on the end of the limb. You know why it's out there? Because nobody else is going. It's time for you to go. It's time for you to be that person that's going way out there and taking that chance and that risk, because your family matters the most. Not having to worry about and throwing your hands up and worrying that what I need isn't going to be available, because that's going to continue to happen. A quick note there, when things are happening this year and we're hearing about something that's not producing well, that impacts next year. So it's not going to get better. There's just going to be new things that are going to be shortages on. So you need to take that opportunity to jump now. And I'm sorry that might seem so straightforward, but sometimes we need to hear that. We got that same speech and we decided to jump, and it's your turn too.
With that being said, I know there's still going to be some of you that have limitations or whatever that will hinder you from truly reaching that goal. And we get it. We know, we understand, we're sympathetic, we're compassionate, and we love you, and we're still here. There are still things you can learn. You know, if you can't buy the farm or start the homestead self-sustainable life, you can at least be a valuable piece to that. You can go ahead and learn those skills. So if that opportunity ever arises for you to join a family, your family, or your friends and neighbors, strangers, I don't care who it is, you can provide yourself and say, I know this, this, and this. I know how to do it. I've practiced it. I've perfected it. And I am a valuable asset to you and your family, and I can come.
Yeah, because I know there's a bunch of people out there that know how to can, but maybe can't do the physical stuff outside. Well, if the physical person outside's getting all the produce and you're able to do the canning or the dehydrating and preserving, that's the asset. Compounds work when people have multiple different types of skills and you can share the workload. That's how you make this work. And so every single one of you, no matter age, physical abilities, anything, you have an asset that you can bring to a homestead. So don't feel like you can't, because can't never could. That's what I always tell our children. You have a will and you still have power if you're breathing this air that God gave you. So you do have an actual absolutely productivity that you can provide to any kind of homesteader farm.
Don't count yourself out. You could even be the homeschooler.
Yes.
You could be the nanny. You could be whatever you want to be. There's a place for you wherever that may be, and we are praying for you that you find that, because if you're feeling it in your gut, you're anxious and you're nervous, just like we are, even though you see all we have and all that we've done to build this lifestyle, we're still nervous. We're anxious right there with you. I think most of my anxiety comes because I am worried about people. I want people to be set up. I want them to get to where they're going. I want them to get their families home, and I want them to start preparing yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's where my anxiety comes. At the end of the day, though, all of that anxiety that all of us have, all the nervousness, you can't control it. You cannot control what is going on in this world, but you can control what you do and how you react to it. Your reaction is what's important. So if all you can do is learn, then learn, because I promise something will pop up to where you can provide yourself.
And you'll be able to take that jump. So, with that being said, that was a lot of like in-your-face stuff that we really want you to start doing, because like she said, it makes us nervous that you're not. And we wish we could buy an entire state and we create the Stivers Homestead compound. It would be beautiful, but we cannot do that. But you can create your compound. And I promise you, once you do it and you get over those hurdles and you get on your new property, you will have no idea the happiness that will fill your body. It is, a lot of people wonder, like, why are we so happy and why are we smiling so much? Because we're all home. Yeah. We're doing this together and we're all here. You all saw when it was just us four, as much as we love that, we got sad because we missed our family. Like, and it wasn't because we just wanted our family around. It's because this lifestyle we created is for all family to be there, like she had touched base on. I promise you, the smiles and the happiness and the laughter will fulfill your body so much doing this life. So don't be scared that it's just gonna be a lot of hard work. There's a lot of fun that comes with it.
Say we're wrong, right? Say everything changes and the world gets better tomorrow. At least you have your family home, and at least you're living your dream and you followed your gut and you followed your dreams. That's not gonna happen. But if it did, at least you are going to be fulfilled in that way.
Yeah, Mom, she worked in a factory her whole life. Yesterday we did all the comfort salves. We were teaching her how to make salves. And she said, you know what, this is harder than factory work, but it's more rewarding. Yep. Because you're doing it for your family. You're not doing it for somebody else that doesn't care whatsoever. All right, y'all. So I hope this resonated. I hope you took it in. I hope you're gonna end this video and start making some plans and figuring this out. We want to hear those stories. Let us know. Our email's down below, our P.O. box if you just want to send some snail mail and some letters on your all's journey. We love it. We want to hear it because, like she said, it makes us happy. It makes us happy seeing people better themselves and bringing that home process in. As we get into summer, school's out, start really figuring out who you are and where you want your family to be. The sky's the limit. Y'all, if you're new here, I promise we bring all kinds of stuff to you. Summer like this. But we would love for you to hit that subscribe button down below.
We love y'all. Truly, we do.
Absolutely. And until the next one. Bye.